So, you've just arrived in the United States, all set to kick off a brand new chapter. And one of the very first things you've got to do is open a bank account. But for a lot of people, there's this one huge hurdle that just seems totally impossible.
I mean, you kind of have to have one, right? Without it, you're just carrying cash everywhere, which is, well, it's risky and not very practical. You can't really pay bills easily, you can't get a paycheck deposited, and you can't start building that financial foundation you absolutely need here.
And there it is, the big one, the question that stops everyone in their tracks. You've probably heard it's impossible, that every single form asks for that SSN. It feels like this giant roadblock you just can't get around. So, what's the deal?
Well, the answer is a big, resounding yes. You absolutely can. It's not a myth. It's not some crazy secret. It is totally possible to open a U.S. bank account without a social security number, and in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so who does this actually apply to? Well, we're talking about new immigrants, international students on F1 or J1 visas, really anyone who's in the U.S. legally but just hasn't gotten their SSN yet. If that sounds like you, you are in exactly the right place.
So, what's the secret sauce here? How does this work? Well, banks have to follow federal laws, things like the Patriot Act, that say they must verify your identity. Now, an SSN is the most common way to do that, but, and this is the key part, it's not the only way. A lot of banks will happily accept something called an ITIN, which is an individual taxpayer identification number. And hey, if you don't have one of those yet, don't sweat it. Your foreign passport, combined with a valid US visa, is often everything you need.
All right, let's get practical. The absolute key to making this a smooth process is walking in prepared. So what exactly should you have in your hands when you walk up to that counter? Okay, these are the non-negotiables. First, your valid passport from back home. Second, proof you're here legally, which is usually your US visa stamp. And third, something that shows you actually live here. A copy of your lease, a recent utility bill with your name on it, or if you're a student, an official letter from your university is perfect. Now, if you want to make this even easier on yourself, it's a great idea to bring a few extra things. If you have an I-10, for sure, bring it. Your I-94 arrival record, which, by the way, you can just print right off the internet, is also fantastic. For students, that admission letter adds another layer of legitimacy. Just think of these as backup documents that make your application even stronger. And of course, you can't open a bank account without, well, money. You'll need to make a small initial deposit. It's usually somewhere between $25 to $100. Oh, and make sure you have a working US phone number and an email address ready to go too. They'll definitely ask for those. Okay, you've got your folder of documents, you're ready. But where do you actually go? Because not all banks play by the same rules. The trick is to find a bank that's known for being welcoming to newcomers. And you've got several really good options. The big national banks like Bank of America and Wells Fargo will often work with just a passport and visa. Others, like Chase, might ask for an ITN. And hey, don't forget to check out local credit unions. They can be super flexible and really community-oriented, which is great, especially if you're a student. The bottom line is, you've got choices. Now listen up, if you remember only one single thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. The rules can change, and they can be different from one branch to the next, even if they're just a few miles apart. So do yourself a huge favor. Always, always call the specific branch you plan to visit and ask them, hey, what exactly do I need to bring to open an account without an SSN? It'll save you a massive headache. All right, let's put this all together. You've picked your bank, you've called ahead, you've got your documents. Let's walk through the whole process step by step. It's a pretty straightforward path. First, you research and call. Second, you get all those documents together and make copies. Third, and this is important, you have to go in person. You generally can't do this online without an SSN. From there, a banker will help you fill out the application. And finally, you'll make that first deposit and, before you leave, get your online banking all set up. So the process is simple enough, but, there are a few common traps that people tend to fall into. Let's talk about how to sidestep that frustration and get this done right the very first time. So one of the biggest points of confusion is the difference between an ITIN and an SSN. An ITN is purely for tax reporting. That's it. It does not give you permission to work. An SSN, on the other hand, is all about employment and federal benefits. And this is a really important distinction because while an ITN works great when you go to a physical bank branch, most of those online-only banks will still demand an SSN. And here are a few other quick mistakes to dodge. Don't even waste your time trying to apply to those online-only banks. Don't pick a bank that's a huge pain to get to because, remember, you have to go in person. And please, please, don't show up without that proof of address or without having made copies of your documents. A little bit of prep work makes all the difference.
So you did it. You walked out of the bank with your new account information. That's awesome. Congratulations. But what happens now? Let's quickly go over what to expect in the next couple of weeks.
First, keep an eye on the mail for your new debit card. It usually shows up in about a week or so. Then start using the account, for small purchases, just to get a positive banking history going. But this last point is the most important one. The second you get your Social Security number, make it a priority to go back to that bank and give them the number to add to your file. This is absolutely crucial for your entire financial life in the U.S. Things like taxes, credit cards, loans, all of it. You see, opening that first bank account is about so much more than just having a place to keep your money. It's really about laying the foundation for your whole financial future in a new country. It's a massive first step. So the real question is, now that you have this critical piece in place, what are you going to build next?